First Assistant Public Defender Clint Anderson, with and on behalf of Mr. Stevens, Your Honor, submitted a form he's requesting to have the Public Defender's Office appointed.
Okay, your name, sir?
Jason Stevens.
All right, and is that correct, sir? You're wishing?
Yes.
All right. This is a public defender case. I have, yes, Ms. Valerico.
Your Honor, I was just going to state for the record that Mr. Stevens is before the court today for a violation of probation hearing. It was an alleged violation of the contact order dated April 25th, 2025. Probation did provide the court with this report for that incident.
I ask if we can approach before we begin.
Yes. All right. And,
And Your Honor, the victim, Kashmir Morley, is present should the court.
yes, well, I have the report. And I guess, Ms. Morley, if you could come forward to the podium, please. Can you state your name, please?
Kashmir Morley.
All right. Can I have her sworn, please?
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to affirm the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name.
Kashmir Morley.
All right, Ms. Morley, the report that I have in front of me indicates that Mr. Stevens appeared at your place of work and waited in line to speak with you.
Those are two separate events, but that's correct.
What do you mean they're two separate events?
There was a workplace event where he showed up at my place of work, and then when he was waiting in line to come to me, it was to a networking event that I was putting together, that I was hosting.
Okay. So, well, now, I mean, I'm looking here and it just says Stevens appeared at Morley's place of work, waited in line to speak with you. When you refused to have contact with him, he waited around the venue for 10 more minutes before leaving. So now you're telling me, that sounds to me like what they're describing to me is one event, but you're saying there are two. When was, okay, which one occurred first?
The workplace event. That was in March.
And where do you, the workplace event, where he came to your place of work?
Where do I work?
Well, in March, you're saying he came to your place of work. Where do you work?
I put some hours in at the Ann Arbor Art Center.
Pardon?
The Ann Arbor Art Center.
Okay. So, and that was on March.
Probably would have been mid-March sometime.
And that's kind of where you would work every day?
Not every day, but I'm part-time there, so I'm there frequently.
Okay. In your mind, did he have a purpose for coming there? If he was there?
It was my understanding that there was, excuse me, I have allergies going on today. There was an exhibition, I think, that he was supposed to help out with. That's as far as I know. But the times that he showed up, there was nothing work pertaining going on, according to the people that I spoke with.
So where he shows up there and then what does he do vis-a-vis you?
One of the people that I work with said that they saw him just wandering around the building, not really with a purpose, and nobody knew who he was or why he was there.
Okay, did he see you?
No,
Well,
I didn't see him. And I don't think he
did
saw
not see him.
Mm-mm. But I knew he was in the building because of email correspondences that were going on
What email correspondence?
in the workplace. I'm on like an all staff email chain. And so I was told that he was going to come into the building for an exhibition.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, So you're told via this email that he's coming into the building. And at least according to that work email, he was entering that place for some legitimate purpose.
The email said that he had showed up. Nobody knew who he was, but apparently he was putting on an exhibition. So they were talking about him coming randomly out of nowhere and saying that he was there for an exhibition. So they were discussing that. And then the email said that there was an exhibition to take place in March that apparently he was supposed to be a part of, but nobody knew who he was or why he was there. That was the email.
Okay. Yes, sir. If nobody knew who he was, did they know his name?
Well, I'm sure he's probably told them his name because they said his name in the email, but in the correspondence, they said they didn't know who he was at the time that he appeared.
Do you have copies of those emails?
Not with me, no.
Do you have access to copies of them?
I could probably get some, yeah.
And then the other event took place, what was that, May 5th?
That was April 25th.
April 25th was the second thing?
Mhm.
Okay, and where did that allegedly happen?
I was hosting a networking event at Venue by 4M in Ann Arbor. And he appeared and he stood in line and I was checking people in and he stood in line so that I could check him into an event that I was hosting and stood longer in line than he did at the actual event.
So you're hosting an event?
Mhm. Me and a crew of other people, but I was on the hosting committee.
So he comes there, or do you?
Mhm.
Would he, in going to the event, would there have been another way, assuming he's there, that there he would have been able to access the event without checking in with you?
That was the only way, was to go through me. And I was an organizer on the event. So if you were paying attention to the event at all, my name was all over that. There was no way you couldn't have known that I was part of it.
Okay, but I could know that you're part of an event, can go to an event, avoid you, but they, prior to coming to the event, would he have known that you were at the desk or wherever it needed to be checked in?
I don't know if he knows that or not, but he had at least 10 minutes waiting in line to get to me to turn around and leave the event. And he chose to come and approach me instead.
Okay, so when he approached you, what did he say?
He said good morning and tried to have me check him in. We have a no contact order, so I didn't speak to him. And the person next to me who was helping check people in then took over because she didn't know the situation and checked him into the event. And he stayed less than 10 minutes and left at a networking event.
Okay, so he comes to the event. So it's not a circumstance where you're the only one checking people in. There's somebody else there.
Sitting right next to me. Yep.
Okay, so he comes up, he says good morning. Is that the only thing he said to you?
He tried to have conversation at the desk and I
What do
didn't
you
have
mean
anything.
have conversation?
He checked himself in and then started talking about a hat that he was wearing and started trying to have conversation with me. And then when I didn't say anything, the woman next to me ushered him into the event and he wasn't signed up for this event either.
Well, did you have to be?
You were supposed to be, yes.
Okay, but did you have to be?
We were letting people in anyway, but that was not the intent. Because it was the first event that we were throwing.
So those are the two events.
Mhm.
So are you claiming that there are any other events that took place?
I'm here because of the April 25th event.
Okay. Are you claiming that there are any other events of contact? Okay. So in mid-March, after let me, just so that I'm correct, mid-March, he never comes in eye shot of you, right?
That's correct.
All right. And so you don't see him.
Mhm.
The April event, it's basically a public event,
Mhm.
right? He's entering and you're saying he said good morning. You didn't check him in. And then you're saying he tried to engage you in conversation, but that didn't happen.
No, with me, I mean, he spoke, but I didn't speak. And then the person next to me who was helping me check people in took him into the event.
Okay, after that event, or right at that point, did you contact the police at that point?
No, because I was there checking people in, and it was also our first event, and I didn't really feel comfortable having the police come to this event right when we were starting to host things, so I didn't know what to do.
Okay, so when did you contact the police about this?
I believe it was the following week. It might have been the week after. I can't remember the exact date. But I was speaking to the probation officer and she told me to file a police report, which is what I did.
Okay, but here's what I'm indicating or trying to figure out. This occurs April 25th, which would have been a Friday,
Mhm.
right? Approximately what time?
The event ran from 8:30 to 9:45. So I think probably around 8:45, 9 o'clock is when he showed up.
All right. And the event ran how long that day?
Until 9:30
Till 9:30 PM,
a.m.
AM. So from 8:30 to 9:30 was the event. It's basically an hour.
Mhm.
Okay.
It might have been 9:45, 9:30, 9:45-ish is when it.
Okay, that's fine. So it didn't go all day.
Correct.
And then so when did you then contact the police about this?
It was either the following week or the week after. I can't remember the exact date.
Would May 7th?
I'm not sure of the exact date, sir.
Have you read the police report on this?
No, I have not.
Your Honor, would you like me to give her my copy?
Yeah, if you could, I'd just like her to read the victim statement.
Okay.
Is that statement correct?
No, this is not correct. This is jumbling the events together, and it's also not what happened.
I'm just talking about the victim statement.
Mhm.
How is it jumbling the events together?
It says that this is the second time that he tried to speak to me. He just tried to speak to me when he came into the event. There wasn't like a time he came back to talk to me. and also placing a hat on so that no one would recognize him. That's not how that occurred.
Okay, so how big was this event?
There was probably 100 people there.
Okay, so he went into the event, he didn't stay long and then left.
He waited longer in line to check in than he did at the event. Than he was at the event.
Okay, it's the second time you said that. So what am I supposed to take from that?
That he waited in line longer to get to me than he actually stayed at the event. If he was there for work, for networking, I don't know why you would say
So-
there to network.
How many of these events have you done, say, this year?
This is the first one we had this past April.
Okay. How often are you at your part-time job?
20 hours a week.
Okay. So other than this March date, I'm just talking this year at this point.
Mhm.
Has he come into your work?
Not that I know of. I have not seen him.
Okay. And then after July of 2024, were you also participating in events?
I was not hosting them, but I was going to networking events. Yes.
So you did, so this is the first event you hosted.
Correct.
Whole encounter between you and him on April 25th is crazy. How long was that encounter?
Him speaking to me.
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Probably like 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay, anything else you want to tell me?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, and I guess not that I've made a finding, what do you want the court to do?
Something so this doesn't keep happening. I'm sick of being contacted by him.
Okay, so, ma'am, you've only told me of one incident.
This is at least the third time I've called the Ann Arbor precinct about no contact violations.
But
Your Honor, I believe that she's referencing the two others that was well on that.
that were from, that I've already addressed because he was sentenced after.
Correct. That's what I believe, and I'm, okay.
You're correct.
It was a December 8th and January 5th.
All throughout the time.
December 8th of 2023 and a January 5th of 2024.
The time period between December and then July, there were emails, there were letter he left in my mailbox. There was dozen times.
Right, I recall all that, ma'am,
Mhm.
but the reason I'm using the July date
Mhm.
is because that's when he was sentenced,
Mhm.
right? And you're saying that so between July and this July of 2024 and the April date, has he been in contact with you?
He drives by my house all the time and says he's going to his
No,
rental
okay.
unit.
One
but-
thing I remember about this case is I think he has a rental property in the same neighborhood that you're in.
I
we had
would
to
like to
deal
know the
with
address
that.
of that, but yes,
What?
I'd like to know the address to it, but yes, that's what he's claimed.
Well, I don't think that was ever disputed at the time of sentencing, that he has a rental property up that way. And that he would go to the, we had a whole discussion about it.
Mm-hmm. Does he need to park in front of my house to get to his rental unit?
It's like right there. I mean, is
If
that
it's
what-
on the same street, it doesn't mean he needs to park in front of my house to get there.
So how many times are you saying that happened?
Countless times.
When that happens, does he engage you in any way? Does he heads off someplace else? He heads
No,
off
he
to the
sits
other-
in his car. He doesn't head anywhere else.
So when that happens, did you call the police?
Yes,
When?
I called the police as early as this week when that happened. Like Monday.
Hold on.
And they
Oh.
told me there's nothing that they could do about it because it's a public street.
So what day did you call the police about this?
About the April event?
No, about April event, you didn't contact him till May 5th. But about him being out in front of your house.
Monday.
This past Monday?
Mhm.
And what did they do? They did nothing?
He told me there's nothing that he could do because he had left by the time that they got there. And then he said it was a public street. So even though I had photos, it didn't matter. That's what he told me.
Did you show the officer the photos?
No, he didn't want to see them. He said it didn't matter.
What time did you call there on Monday?
6 o'clock.
6 p.m.? So other than that, when you called the police, have you contacted, you're saying, you're using phraseology like all the time and those kinds of things. And I'm trying to figure out where you're saying he's in front of your house. Other than this past Monday, right? Have you called the police about him being there?
Yes.
On how many occasions?
Probably between 5 and 10 at this point. I don't know how many like actual case numbers I have or whatever that's
Do you
called,
have
but
the case numbers?
not on me, no.
Do you have the request for service numbers?
Not on me, no. But I have the card from Monday, not with me, but I do have that number.
You have a rental property in the neighborhood, right? Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay, and it's, as I'm recalling, it's adjacent in a sense to where she resides. It's like right in that same area.
You like me to answer?
Yeah,
Yes, from the end of the driveway, her apartment would be visible. When she says,
I recall that. I was trying to make sure I was recalling that part of it correctly. All right. Okay, and so ma'am, I was at the point, what do you want me to do?
Something.
I-
I'm tired of him contacting me. He could have gone to any other networking event. He didn't have to go to one that I was putting on. And if he was actually there for work, then he should have been networking instead of just leaving 5 minutes after checking in. But he stood in line to see me and contact me, and there's a witness to that.
Why he stood in line, do you?
Why did he leave 5 minutes after then if he was there for work? And I have a witness to the whole thing.
Pardon?
I have a witness to the whole thing.
Who's your witness?
The person that was sitting next to me.
And who is that?
What's her name?
Yes.
Her name is Aylin Walters.
She available?
Not today.
How do you know?
because I asked her.
When would she be available?
I don't know.
Do you have contact information for this Miss Walters that you could share with Miss Polera?
I do.
All right. Okay, anything else you want to tell me? All right, thank you. All right, sir. And I know you're represented by, no, you're okay, come on.
You need your glasses, Mr. Stevens.
I think I know what's on, yeah.
Let's have him sworn.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name.
Jason Stevens.
Stevens? And if at any point you're uncomfortable answering any of the questions the court has, then you've got counsel here. Do you recall being in the, I guess, Ann Arbor Art Center in March?
Yes,
Why? Why were you there?
I have with me the contract signed for my company to install an exhibition there in March.
Can I see that? Wait,
It also includes a timeline on the front page and correspondence with Ms. Morley's employer about
hold on.
the exhibition.
Hold on. So you were supposed to be there regarding an event. There's a contract regarding the event.
That is correct.
That's why you were there in March.
Yes.
All right. And then, well, let me ask you in March, did you see her at all?
I was not aware she worked there until her employer called and told me.
When did that happen?
The week before installation was supposed to happen.
She said she worked there. You were told that she worked there.
Yes.
Were you told? Well, how'd that conversation go? Why? Well, let me ask you this. Why did their employer then tell you that?
Apparently, Ms. Morley told her employer, the director of the Ann Arbor Art Center, that she had a restraining order against me and that I wasn't allowed into her place of work. Her employer, knowing that I was there to install an exhibition, called me in a bit of a panic, and we talked about it on the Friday before installation.
Okay, and what between the employer and yourself, when you say you talked about it, what was worked out regarding?
The fact that, well, the employer asked that I not come into the building.
Okay.
Of course, that created a difficult situation because I had a responsibility in the building and an exhibition that was opening a week later. So we had to work out how that work would actually get done without me being able to be in the building. My coworkers did not want to go after they learned about this, so we had to find a surrogate to do that work. We ended up working through other people. I worked remotely. I did not go into the building, despite this being a physical job, but it all came off okay. So,
Well, hold on a second. Were you in the building in March then?
before that phone call, I was going in and meeting with people to talk about the logistics.
That's what I'm trying to clear out.
Yeah,
The mid-March point, you heard the testimony was Morley. Had you been told at that point that she worked there?
no,
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure. I wanted to make sure I had my timing right. So then you're told that, well, her employer or the director of the building calls you, tells you that. And even though you had contracted to do this installation, right? Did you enter the building after that?
nope, have not been back since.
Got it. Okay. And then what happened? Do you recall April 25th event?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. What do you want to tell me about that? Did you go, I think it was on South Industrial or something?
Place called Venue.
Yeah.
Used to be a grocery store, I think. I was on a podcast with a fellow. I met the fellow and learned that he was speaking at this event, a new professional networking event that was being hosted at Venue. I decided I would go check it out. Saw another colleague earlier in the week. She said she was going. I said, cool, I'll meet you there. Went to that event at 8:30. I was actually there right at 8:30. When I walked in, I saw that Kashmir Morley was checking people in, but she was one of two people. I stepped aside, waited for the other woman's line to empty. I went up to her. I checked in. She complimented my hat.
Who did?
The woman that I checked in with, apparently her name is Lynn Walters.
Okay.
She complimented my hat. I said, thank you. I made it myself. And then I went into another room where the actual event was taking place, grabbed a glass of water, went into that room, saw the friend that I had agreed to meet there, saw another couple of people. And I did leave before the event started, before Hein actually began talking. I left through a side door because I didn't want to be in the same room as Ms. Morley. And that was it.
So you didn't, I guess it would have been the front is where you came in.
Yeah, right by the front.
You didn't leave out the front.
Nope.
So what you're telling me is the reason you left is because she was there and that at some point, correct me if I'm wrong on this, at some point, given that she was part of that event, she was going to be in that same room as you. And you were trying to avoid that.
Yes, I would say generally her presence was making me uncomfortable.
Okay.
I should add, I don't see her name on anything related to the event. She said she was hosting it, but that's not clear.
Do you have that with you?
So that I can explain. I added a page that's the podcast we were on. The next page is the LinkedIn post where I learned about the event. Her name is nowhere in that post. There's another internet article about the event. Her name is nowhere in that article. So.
But the reality is you're not learning about this event from the internet or anything like that. You learn about it from somebody that you did a podcast with.
Yeah. He was
basically verbally learn about it.
Yeah, and then I saw it on LinkedIn.
Got it. Okay, and when you saw it on LinkedIn, her name is not here. Is that what you're telling me?
That's correct.
So prior to your arrival, you didn't know she would be there.
No idea.
Anything else you want to tell me about this?
Not really.
On this one. Thank you.
Or anything else? I have no other violations or anything.
Your Honor, Ms. Morley indicates that the LinkedIn posts indicate her name on the notice. On LinkedIn.
Yeah, and on the events page, my name is listed as an organizer.
Okay, I got a question. Why do you think he was trying to get to you?
Because he's been trying to do this the whole time. He's been doing this. That was why he left a letter. That's why he emailed me. He's trying to contact me. That's why it shows me.
Ma'am, hold on. I just asked you, what other contact has occurred with the credit here between June or July? Just make sure I get my notes right. Between July 8th of 2024 to present, any direct contact that he's had.
I don't understand how many times I have to be contacted in order for it to matter.
That's, you need to answer get up to the podium. You need to answer my question. You keep saying it keeps happening. You keep using these large phrases, but never giving me any specifics. So what I'm trying to figure out is how many other times from the time that he was sentenced, that's the date I'm using, up to say March or even April, how many times has he contacted you?
This has been the first direct time he's contacted me since July.
Okay, so then my question is, from that date you didn't see him, but heard about him in the building at work in March, did he appear in the building after that at your work?
After what date?
You said it was sometime in mid-March that you heard he was in the building. Did that occur again?
I don't know,
work?
not that I saw.
So I'm to understand that between the time I sentenced him and this date, or the April 25th date, there's been no contact.
Okay. Yes.
And on that date, at least as I see it, we can at least agree that he entered. You're saying it was because of your actions. He's saying it's because of his actions. But regardless of that, you were not the person that checked him in. Somebody else, as Miss Walters, checked him in.
He tried to get me to check him in, and when I
How do
didn't
you
contact him,
know?
because he walked up to me and said good morning to me and looked at me and said good morning and tried to have me check him into an event that I was hosting. That's how I know. He didn't look at Miss Walters, he looked at me.
And the other thing that we can, well, you're not agreeing to that, but the other thing that we can agree, he did go off and the event was taking place in another room. And then, at least as I listened to both of you, he left shortly thereafter.
That's correct.
He didn't, would you agree, didn't come back out the front where you were? He somehow or another left the event.
Yes.
And your thought is, well, what is your thought about why he left the event?
I don't know why he left if he was there for work. There to network. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay, so your belief is that he came to the event to see you,
Yes.
saw you, went into the event that, by your understanding of this, he really had no intention really to be at, because his sole intention was to see you.
I think his intention was to show up and show me that he can be around me no matter what, because nothing is getting done about this. That's what I think his intention was.
Where do you get that from?
The fact that he stood in line longer to see me, to get me to check him in than he was at the event. That's what makes me feel that way.
All right, thank you. Ms. Anderson, anything you want to say on behalf of your client at this point?
I haven't heard anything that gives rise to any direct or indirect contact. She's referenced the events, two separate events, the March 2025 event. Doesn't appear that she even knew that he was in the building. I don't see anything that gives rise to any contact. She didn't see him, he didn't speak directly with him, and my client has presented information that he was there for work purposes. Once he found out that she was there. He found ways to work remotely, which would indicate to me at least, that he was trying to comply with the court's orders with regards to that. The April event, again, he's there for networking. I mean, it's almost in that situation a lose-lose for Mr. Stevens. She's complaining that he stayed only 10 minutes, and if he had stayed the full event, that also would have been a problem. Your Honor, I don't see anything that gives rise to any violation of probation, and I would ask the court to dismiss this.
I'm gonna step out for a moment. Miss Valera, can you call AEPD and ask them
Yes, I will.
about requests for service from Monday and those before?
Yes.
And what, yeah,
I will.
can you? If they can get us a list and just give me about 15 minutes and let her do that. And you got the contact information from Mr. Walters? Ms. Blair?
I will get it from her.
Okay, and can you see if you can reach out to her too? I know I'm giving you a lot.
That's okay.
All right, and then we'll reconvene. I'll come back on short. Thank you. Court's in standing recess. We're back on the record in the case of the People versus Jason Stevens. He's present with counsel, and so is Morley present. The court took a brief recess, and I asked for Miss Valera to check a couple of things for me, Miss.
Yeah, sure. I do have that information for the court. As far as reaching the witness, Ms. Walters, there, I did leave a message, there was no answer, so I wasn't able to get with her. As for the calls for service to Ann Arbor PD, they had 3 that they were able to provide. One was on May 5th, which is the probation violation report from today's hearing. There was one from May 12th, this past Monday. They indicated there was no report, just notes for that call of service. There was notes say, saw the defendant drive by one time, no violation because he owns property down the street. They had nothing other than that since July of 2024 with a call for service, no report, notes were possible harassment, no action taken. Probation also
Just, and so we can clarify, the July date would have been right around when he was sentenced.
correct.
Okay.
Correct. And probation also wants to make the court aware, Mr. Stevens did report to probation the incident that happened in early March, where he was in the building doing work. He reported that to my office, indicating the same that he testified today, just so the court is aware.
That he was in the building, then informed later that she worked there.
Correct. And so he wanted that known and reported. So Mr. Stevens did report that to my office.
Okay. Court's ready to rule. And I'm just gonna maybe be painfully blunt regarding this. I, because of my docket, have numerous people reporting incidents of contact, incidents of harassment, incidents of those kinds of things, and have to try to deal with them and sort them out. Sometimes it turns on the little things as to what transpired because I'm not there. But other times it's real clear that somebody has had contact. Other times it also is clear in the opposite direction that there was no intended contact. It's some contact may have been incidental or very short-lived. As I listen to the parties in this case, I'll just say this. Ma'am, I don't know why you have this belief that Mr. Stevens is spending his life trying to be near you. I don't think that's the case at all. Certainly not by any of what I've been shown today. And quite frankly, you lied to this court. Yes, ma'am, you have. I don't want you shaking your head because you're playing with the wrong judge. You are playing with the wrong judge. I am dealing with people's liberty, with their freedom. And it is with sometimes a heavy heart that I have to restrict people's freedom, or I have to take somebody's freedom and their liberty. And I don't want to do it where I don't have to. I particularly don't want to do it where somebody comes before the court complaining of something that is just so unbelievable and at times twisted as to what's going on. Mr. Stevens, quite frankly, if he were not one to want to tell me the truth about what happened, the very fact, and I'll just deal with the March date, the very fact you never see him, but somebody says he's there, he could have gotten up before me. He could have said, I was never in that building. And just say that. There's not going to be anybody that's going to show that he's in that building necessarily. He'll just say, I wasn't there. He doesn't do that. And in fact, gets before this court, explains the entire circumstance of when he's in the building, then does the right thing once he's informed that you work there. He does two things right. One is he doesn't go back to the building and has to logistically try to figure out a way to fulfill his obligations under his contract. But he does that because of this court's order. He purposely doesn't violate that. He doesn't try to use the contract as some excuse to then go back into the building saying, well, I had to go there and I was just going to work. He doesn't do any of that. He just stays away. That's the first thing that he did that was right. The second thing that he did that was correct in that regard is that he, when it came time for him to report to probation, understanding he had had no police contact regarding that event, nothing really comes out of it, but he reports it to his probation officer that this transpired and that this is what I had to do. I've read that report that he submitted. It is almost verbatim what he told me today, not knowing that today was going to even manifest itself in this. He already reported that that's what happened and that this is what then actions he took to make sure he wasn't there. So your indication, and it's just misguided that it is that he came there looking for you, is just wrong. It just simply is wrong. He was not looking for you. He was just trying to do his job or do his work, found out he couldn't because you were there, and then stayed away and had to figure out some other way to do it. Then we get to the April 25th date. The April 25th date, I guess the only thing I can say regarding Mr. Stevens' behavior is I wish he had done something different. And that is that upon getting to the door, seeing you, I wish he had turned around and walked back out. I don't know, quite frankly, that would have prevented us from being here. But certainly I would have wished that he did. But I understand what he did do. And what he did, this is, again, identical to what he indicated to probation, but he also said it to this court today under oath. He goes in, you don't check him in. I believe him when he says, I stepped to the side
to wait for the other one, because I think you have some fixation on him or his, or what he's thinking. And you can keep shaking your head all you want, because I can go all day. Because I think there's something wrong in this whole thing. I believe him that he stepped to the side, checked in. You then take some and make some nefarious argument about him coming there to see you. Why? Because he didn't stay for the whole event. Well, he didn't stay for the whole event, as he reported to probation. And the other thing is that he went in, gave his greetings and goodbyes basically to the people that he was supposed to meet there, and then left. And then made the conscious decision, because you were there, not to go back out the way I came in. He just left out a side door and said, I'm out. As I said, the only thing I wish he had done, but again, I don't know that that would have prevented us from being here, is to just at the front door have turned around and left. But I get why he didn't, because he had told people that he was going to be there. He was just going to go in, do this, get out. He wasn't going to stay there. I believe him when he says, I was going to be uncomfortable if she was in that same event. And he got himself out. That is consistent, quite frankly, in a lot of ways, with what he did in March. There's absolutely no, this court sees it, no violation that this court could take any action. But then when I look at it, you kept saying, and I was cautioning you on this, ma'am, or you were addressing the court, that you keep saying these sort of grand statements about him, that it's always, I want this to stop. I want whatever. And I'm saying, well, what other events have there been? And I specifically recall us dealing with his rental property and the fact of its location vis-a-vis where you live. I remember looking at a map, because somebody telling me where it can be seen and where he goes up. And you knew he had rental property there, and then had the nerve to say to me today, well, I want the address because I'm not. We went through that whole thing in July in excruciating detail. You know he has it there. And how do I also know that you know he has it there? The Monday call to the police, which, by the way, is really suspicious, because I don't have any calls for service except at the time of his sentencing, just this general harassment thing, which they didn't take any action on. And then Monday. Here's the interesting thing about Monday. That call comes into the Ann Arbor Police Department at 6 p.m. on the same date that my staff set this hearing. We set the hearing at approximately a little after 12 that day, via email to Ms. Polero. By 6 o'clock, I then all of a sudden have some complaint against this gentleman with the Ann Arbor Police, as though you had to sort of bolster some issue against it. Then you exaggerated, if not perjured yourself under oath before this court, when I'm asking, how many calls have you made? Well, here's the thing you may not realize. Any police department you call will have detailed notes of what they did in their response to service, which is when you said how many times you had called, I asked Ms. Polero to check that out. There's only 3. Since the time of sentencing, there's only 2. One being your report of this April 25th date, which didn't happen until the 5th. And then a week later, another call to the Ann Arbor Police Department, frankly, in response to this court setting a hearing and trying to drive and make a case against this gentleman. You lied to me. Just out and out lied. You haven't been calling the police. You haven't been doing any of that. And quite frankly, because there are serious cases of victims that come before this court that are harassed by people, they may not get the facts right. They may not understand certain things, but they will tell the court from their perspective what happened. But one thing I've never found, while I may not quite, they might have the facts of the law, I've never found just a blatant lie like this, ever. Saying that somebody has harassing you to such a point that, yes, I've had to call the police this many times. You haven't called the police. He wasn't there at that April 25th incident to see you. He was there to go to that event. Your weird belief that somehow or another his reason for going there was because he saw your name and decided to just gallivant down there, let me see if she's there. Seriously? I am not finding a violation. And young lady, I'm going to tell you, and I just have to think about it, but I may end up sanctioning you for lying to this court. If you got something real to bring this about somebody, I don't mind you coming here. But we've been sitting here for the last almost an hour and 45 minutes trying to deal with this. All of this being mistruths and just lies about him. So while you may try to turn him into something evil, you may think he's the proverbial devil in terms of who he is. This court does not view him this way. He has been a model probationer. He has done everything. He's gone way beyond what most probationers do in reporting things that weren't crimes, but certainly something that he thought probation should know of. And the great thing about him doing that, certainly it saved him today, just by putting it out there. So the court's going to find no violation. I'm done with this. And if there's something else that comes up, then...
This is where the hearing takes a dramatic turn. The judge is no longer simply comparing two versions of events. He is evaluating credibility, supporting evidence, and whether the alleged conduct actually establishes a probation violation. The court has heard that the March visit was connected to contracted work, that Stephen stayed away after learning she worked there, and that he reported the incident to probation. At the same time, the witness has described the April encounter as intentional contact. So the critical question is, does the evidence prove a violation, or does it only show circumstances that were interpreted differently by the people involved?